Well, okay, I had my line in the water. We just stopped at this hole. I put the line in probably 15 seconds, and it just hit the bottom, and I was checking it. And we got a steelhead on. We got a good one. It's a good sized one, John. How big do you think it is? Now watch. 7.5, 8 pounds. Okay, watch right here, because it's liable to jump. What's that?
Get that rod out of the corner there, guys.
Okay, here you go.
Oh!
Oh, that's a nice one.
Nice fish. Kathy, bring that rod.
Nice big one. Look at it. Let it go here. He's pulling the drag out. It worries me when they're so close to the boat.
Fred, why don't you get up there in the center?
Yeah. Up in the center? Okay. There he goes, taking a little run. All right. Look at him. Woo!
It didn't take long, did it?
Oh, boy, that thing.
No, he was, and he hit it. He really hit it good, I'll tell you.
You let him take it just right.
Yeah.
You know, that rod has never lost a fish. That's my rod.
This rod is never.
Don't put a jinx on it.
Nothing like pressure. You know, I'm a lot warmer now.
Yeah, it's funny how warm
Everybody
Yeah, it does.
If he starts going over that side, back up just a little bit, and I'll go across.
What is the temperature, Emil?
It's about 19.
19? The thing is, I'm not used to winter.
Neither am I.
This is the first winter day that I've been out. Well, last week you guys had it, what, in the 40s?
Oh, yeah, it's been up in the 30s and 40s every day, you know.
Oh, boy.
Let me get out there.
No, he's not ready yet.
He's almost ready.
He's almost ready. I'm ready to get him in the net.
We got that brush down there, so we're going to have to hustle him, or I'm going to have to move out.
Okay, we're going to...
Just take it easy. If he wants to go, let him go. But if he wants to come up, bring him up.
Oh, here...
Come up.
Look at him moving around.
Start the engine again. Does he look like he's getting close, John?
He's right behind the boat, but he ain't
I'll
up
go over
yet.
then.
Okay.
All right, bring him up.
Now,
easy.
back up, Fred.
You ready?
Yep.
You ready? Okay.
Uh-oh. Ooh,
Oh, no, he's not ready yet.
Likes that cold Watch him on that spot there.
Yeah.
Likes that cold water.
Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. Here he comes. Oh, come on.
Do that again, just back.
Okay, just one more time. One more time.
yeah.
Nice fish. What a nice fish. Come on, babe. Yeah! All right.
All right.
In the net.
Oh, that feels
Freddie
good.
did all by his lonesome.
You bet.
Is it okay?
Boy, ain't that a pretty meal?
It sure is.
Can't get much
Ah.
better than
Well, you know, this really speaks well for Emil Dean and
that. Yeah.
St. Joe River steelhead fishing. Let's get him out of here. Yeah, we're in the brush.
Yeah.
There he is. Good. Well, congratulations. I caught this steelhead trout this past Monday morning on the St. Joe River. A cold day, but a good day. And we'll continue fishing with Captain Emil Dean in just a moment because it's Thursday night and time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties, we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
Oh, it's a nice fish, Emil. This took no time at all.
Nothing to it, is there?
Yeah, but yesterday, how'd you do yesterday?
We didn't do very well yesterday.
Huh, well, we got a good start right now. What do you say, John? You say this is a skinny fish?
Yes, a thin fish.
Thin one?
Yeah.
But it's a male
Right.
by the coloration.
He's been in the river for a while, too. He's dark, see?
One thing for sure, he's a cold fish. You feel that right up next to your cheek?
Oh, that feels nice.
I'll tell you, that's cold. You gotta... There he is, the first one in the ice box. Hey, well, let's go inside. I gotta warm my hands here.
Okay.
We can talk a minute. Oh, nice to get in where it's a little bit warm. Oh, I tell you, that's a cold fish. You got a paper towel up here? Oh. Well, does this look like it's gonna be a good winter for steelhead?
Well, it's going to be one of the best we've ever had.
Why?
Mainly because of the weather. You know, we haven't had severe weather. We're normally frozen by now. In fact,
Okay.
our water temperature out there is about 36 degrees, where normally it's down 31.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, that fish is 31.
Pretty close to it
I
now.
can tell that. Well, this is nice. You know, you have the heated cabin and all the windows around. You can see out. Well, we got fishing out here. We ought to introduce the folks that we have out there. There's, of course, our secretary, Kathy Beitler, production assistant. She wanted to go fishing on a day, so we said, come on down with Emil, we'll get some fishing. Ed Groves, producer, and John Clevenger. John goes out with you quite a bit, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, John and I fish quite a bit.
Wow.
John's a native here.
And he knows his fishing. Well, my hands are almost warm enough to go out and try it again.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Wouldn't that be a corker if I got the second one, too?
Let's see you do it.
That'd be great. What we use for bait here is spawn, treated spawn. What do you do with this with borax?
Yes,
Emil?
borax.
Borax on this. Take a chunk about this size. A good chunk, and you gotta hook it so it's through the membrane. Kind of tough on this, John. Sometimes it doesn't.
You get that membrane.
Yeah, that's good. Get it through another time. Oops.
The idea is to make a ball out of it.
Make a ball out of it. That's easy for you to say. You try to make a ball out of this.
If you get it flat, it'll spin up.
How's that look?
That'll look good.
Okay, that's not bad. Got a number 4 hook, a little bell sinker on here, and that's how it's rigged. We'll go out and we'll drop it right. There's a hole here, a run, John? Right. And this is where the steelhead like to lay. So we let it down to the bottom and just wait for it to tap, tap, tap. That's what it did. Right off the bat. I should have one in about 15 seconds, John. Wouldn't that
You're lucky.
Wouldn't that just kill you?
That don't happen that way very often.
No, not very often. But, Emil, you've been getting 6, 8 fish a trip, haven't you? I mean, the past couple of weeks?
Well, the past couple of weeks, but that's not the average by any means.
Not the average. What do you average? 2 or 3?
Average 2 or 3 fish a trip is pretty good.
Okay, well, we're on our way.
With one fish in the boat right off the bat, we didn't know if that meant we'd load the boat or it might be our last fish for the morning. With these temperatures, if the fish didn't want to bite, I wouldn't blame them. But steelhead fishing on the St. Joe will probably be reasonably good right through the spring. John Clevenger can usually catch them when nobody else can, and we had 2 other not as experienced but very eager anglers on board, Ed and Kathy. I hope both of them would boat steelhead for all they're going through, but me, I spent more time inside with Emil.
Well, Emil, you prefer a cloudy day like this or a sunshiny day? Which seems to be better?
Well, depending on water temperature, of course. In the wintertime, when the water's cold, I like a sunshiny day.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, but the fish are more active in the sunshiny day in the wintertime when the water's cold. Now, in the fall or early spring after the water warms up, I'd rather have a cloudy day.
How many holes do you have here in the river? You fish a couple mile stretch?
I fish probably 5 or 6 miles, but you don't fish the holes every day because a lot of days there'll be somebody else into them, so you have to kind of skip around them.
How often can you come back and fish the same hole? You rest it for an hour or what?
No, I usually go through a hole one time, and if I come up to a good hole I've been fishing, I see somebody there, I won't even fish it that day because the first guy through the hole's got the best chance at it.
Trout get a little spooky?
Well, they get a little spooky, and probably they might take the fish out of there ahead of you. Of course, if you take one fish out of a hole, the next day one will move in his territory, but there generally won't be 2 there in the same spot.
How do you find the holes in the? Maps or charts you use?
Well, we've got maps and charts now to begin with. We run the river with depth sounders. We made up our maps and charts and determined the depths and found the holes. Then we determined which holes held the fish and which didn't.
Some of them don't hold fish?
No, some holes won't hold fish. If there's no structure in a hole, there won't be any fish in there.
Are there logs down there or?
Logs and rocks and things of that sort.
That's what you want?
Right, definitely.
Fish lay behind that.
Now this time of year now, of course in the spring they go out on the gravel when they spawn, but now they're laying in the holes.
I think a smart fish, when the weather turns like this, would go down to Florida. I'd get down that Mississippi River and head south.
Of course, if you don't know any better, you stay here, I guess.
That's right. Well, we had one heck of a fall, though. The warm weather stayed until just a few days ago.
Yeah, this was the best year we've ever had. In fact, this is the coldest day we've had this year.
I wonder if it's going to be the coldest day of the winter.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. Boy, last year at this time, Tip-Up Town was going on, and it was... Did you fish then?
I was out of business by this time last year. Like the last 2 winters. By the first of the year, we had to hang it up.
Oh, yeah, there was 50, 60 below wind chill last year at this time of year.
Yep.
You might have a season all winter, though.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We'll go all winter now. Maybe we'll call some days off for cold days, but I don't think we're going to see as much ice as we've had in previous years.
Well, that's, at least from this standpoint, it's welcome.
winter sports and the ski people. It's kind of rough on them, but
Well, I figure I should have mine turn once in a while.
you deserve it. Well, it's about time to get out there again. I guess my hands are warm enough.
Okay, let's do it.
You can't fish too long.
Yeah, but you got to suffer about so much. You got to remember that.
I know. It's worth it, though. You catch fish like this.
That's what you call paying your dues.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to come fishing. Get tired sitting in the office, huh?
Darn timing.
Oh, look, right back
Oh,
there.
yeah, look at him.
Look back there, Dick. See if you can see him.
down, I mean, we
Pull up on it.
Oh.
drifting way down.
There he is.
You know, with a current like this, you're also fighting the current, and that fish
Oh.
lays himself sideways.
Oh, yeah. Boy, he is.
What's the biggest... Pulling the anchor up now, so we're drifting free. What's the biggest fish you ever caught before?
Bluegill.
A bluegill. This is a little bigger than a bluegill.
Yeah, little.
Yeah, you gotta keep the rod tip up because what happens when the line is straight out, it puts a lot of pressure on the line, you can snap the line. But that rod is acting like a cushion there. I think the sun's coming out.
Can I, no?
I'm almost ready to take my jacket off and
We can get a suntan.
stretch out on the deck.
Get wind him in.
Well, okay, if you want it, pull back. Take it up, pull it down.
Okay, and the one
Okay, now
goes down
crank
slack?
as you're letting the rod down. Crank fast.
Taking the slack, right?
Yeah, crank real fast. Yeah, now you're gaining some. Okay, so keep doing that. And now crank on the way down. There you go. That's the idea. Pull up. Now we're gaining on him. Hurry.
Isn't it great?
Kind of like this. He's rolled up in the line. Yeah, okay, now what we're going to do, get this back up here. Swing over here, Dick. Get a shot over here of us, and then swing back and forth. Okay, Kat, now, this is the critical part, because this is when fish are lost.
Yeah, I know.
Now, yeah, he's rolled up in the line. Okay, now what you want to do, okay.
Right there.
Really, just a little more. Okay, now lean back, lean back, lean back. Hey, there we go. Well, Kath, I think you jumped up and down a little bit right here. There we go.
We were proud of Kathy. That's a nice fish to us, but to her, it was a real trophy. The biggest fish she'd ever caught. Not every secretary would appreciate a fringe benefit like taking a day to fish for steelhead in the winter, but Kathy does. It's not a master angler-sized fish, but in our book, Kathy is definitely our master angler of the week. You would think that this pintail duck would much prefer to be here in the studio, Glenn, than out on the river with us when we're steelhead fishing. But it doesn't seem to be too grateful.
No, not at all.
Was
Not
it?
at least a bit bashful about expressing it either.
I guess not. Well, Glenn Dutter is our extension wildlife specialist from Michigan State University and brings us all sorts of wild creatures, and he's going to be heading up our judging panel for our taxidermy exposition, which is coming up, and the judging, which is what, January 27th?
Yes.
A week from today, a week from this Thursday. And you brought along a pintail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a live pintail, and here is a mounted pintail. Let's talk about that in just a second, but
Okay.
you know how this taxidermy competition and exposition got started? Remember when we had Tony Santa
Yes.
on the show?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we had taxidermist Tony Santa back last spring, and he had a couple of deer heads, which he brought down. You remember you looked at those, and there was just no comparison
None
between the two.
whatsoever. Lifelike and complete artificiality.
That's right. Well, taxidermists like Tony really take pride. He specializes in the deer mounts. But this is how this competition really, where the idea came from.
Together to the mannequin. Well, some of these things are things that you can see that do make the difference. And of course, just the general, Glenn, what would you comment on the general puffiness on the face on this one compared with Tony's?
You can see how wide the muzzle of this deer is and how thick the lips are. And then with the hair standing on top of the head, it gives it a balloon-like appearance. But I think the thing that shows up the most is that this deer has a lifelike expression to it, and this one has an unnatural expression, and as you said, it's an art, and capturing that lifelike expression is the art in taxidermy.
I've never seen a comparison like this myself, and I suppose a lot of people haven't. Well, Tony, let's look at another mount of yours that I know you're proud of. This is called in a sneak position.
Yes, it is, Fred.
Quite a bit different, huh, Glenn?
It certainly is, and this is what a deer looks like when it's trying to sneak through an area with the ears laid back, the nose stretched forward, straining to get that next whiff of odor. And notice, again, the expression on its face suggesting, I'm sneaking.
Oh, well, this...
Tony, remember that?
Yes,
Glenn?
I do.
That was something. Seeing a dramatic comparison between a barroom mount and one where a taxidermist really put some art into it. Well, our taxidermy competition and exposition, we have 5 basic categories. We have big game for a taxidermist of the year. There's the small game mounts, mainly mammals. Our waterfowl taxidermy. And then there's a category for upland game birds and for fish. And we are going to proclaim a Michigan Taxidermist of the Year in each of those categories. Plus, at the Boat and Fishing Show, and this will be February 9th through the 13th, well, this will be coming up on our outdoor calendar, but we're going to have an exposition, almost like an ark, one of everything, half an ark, I guess, but one of every species of fish we can find. So we've sent out the applications to taxidermists, and we're getting quite a return. Let's talk for a second about this feisty pintail you have here. Versus the mount. This was done by Hildy Taxidermy, and really it's quite an excellent pintail, is it not?
Yes, it is. Very good pintail.
But what do you look for as a biologist that looks for realism in a mount?
Well, on ducks, the one thing that I really look for is the bill. And you can see here, particularly on this guy and the mount, the delicate coloring on the bill is extremely difficult.
Well, those blue streaks there,
yes,
we don't see. It would probably be difficult to paint and to keep the paint.
Yes, and to get just the right contrast, because you can get the colors, but it's the softness of the colors that make it difficult to do. Also, the other thing that really demonstrates a taxidermist's ability is to get these feathers, to get these feathers looking like the bird keeps them. You can see how these feathers, even though they're dirty, form a very tight protective barrier, where these aren't near as tight and there's a little bit more matting. So to get the feathers looking just right. And I guess the final thing we're looking for is the lifelikeness.
Say.
And you can see that this mount is very lifelike, comparing it to the live bird.
Well, taxidermy is an art. We do have a nationally renowned taxidermist in Michigan who specializes in waterfowl, Frank Newmeyer. And I'm sure his work will be on display down at Cobo Hall during the Boat and Fishing Show. But these are some of the things you look for. You're heading up the judging panel.
Yes, and this is some of the things that our other judges will be looking for to determine just how close to realism the taxidermist could come.
And by the way, I was the one who set this up and set up the judging panel, being biologists like yourself, rather than taxidermists or artists, because I think you people really know what those ducks and waterfowl and fish really look like.
Well, this is one of the things that the judges that so far that have agreed to do it have said, I'm not really qualified to judge the artistic merit. And I said, no, we're going to judge the technical merit and let others worry about the artistry of it.
Right. Well, this you're going to see down at the Boat and Fishing Show, and this is a live pintail and a mounted one. The art of taxidermy. And of course, we also have wildlife art. Glenn, if you'll excuse me here, I'll slip over with Bob Garner and Ed Groves, and we'll look at some of our wildlife art entries. We have special categories in our Michigan Outdoors Artist of the Year competition. We have 10 categories in all, and some of them are going to be new to wildlife artists, things you haven't seen before. Of course, we'll headline it here with...
Well, the #1 big game species in the state of Michigan and probably all of North America, the white-tailed deer.
Will that be the top painting in our white-tailed deer category?
It might have won the big buck contest.
It might have. Boy, that's a nice one. Of course, grouse and woodcock are important.
Right, I've got a woodcock here, a beautiful painting.
Certainly is. We have a category for grouse and woodcock, and the beneficiary of the limited edition prints we do in this category will be the Grouse Society chapters. Of course, the Michigan Duck Hunters Association will be the beneficiary of some of the prints, limited edition prints in our waterfowl category. We have some excellent prints and originals coming in from runners-up of the duck stamp competition here in Michigan.
Fred, you can almost hear this next one talk, those 2 hens they're talking with that displaying adult wild turkey. It's a beautiful picture.
Oh, that is nice. Of course, fish are extremely important to this state.
Here's a steelhead, of course, the one I missed at Emil Dean's.
No, and that's a lot smaller.
Smaller and bigger, I don't know.
Well, no, this is smaller than the one you missed.
All right.
We do have a lot of entries, trout and salmon in the fish category, but we'd like to see a lot more of the warm water species, so our judges have some things to choose from in this category. Of course, we also have a category of general wildlife, creatures you're familiar with in the woods. Every hunter knows these birds intimately, the blue jay, and I hope that these blue jays are being harassed right now by that fox squirrel. I hope they're chattering at each other. They seem to chatter at me all fall long in the woods.
Fred, I'll tell you though, none of this would be possible, none of this sport hunting or fishing without habitat, and that's another one of our categories. This is the Algonac Marsh.
Well, we want habitat to be important in people's minds, so we've created a habitat category. So you artists who have paintings that emphasize the habitat and sort of de-emphasize the wildlife, we'd like you to enter those.
And with so much water in Michigan, we had to have a marine art category. Here's one.
This has wildlife
beautiful.
in it.
It has some wildlife in it.
We'd like to see more entries with boats, and
Yeah.
seascapes,
Mhm.
but this is a nice one, a lot of water. Another category we have, one of my favorites, is the sportsman category. A lot of paintings of wildlife, but I like to see the sportsman in there too, and we have a special category that emphasizes the hunter and the fisherman. Here's a hunter over that big buck that could have won the big buck contest for sure.
Fred, that's a nice buck, but one of the real shames of the contest is this is the only sporting dog entry right now. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, a good action shot, but we really do need to see more labs and pointers and things like that to make this category complete.
That's right, artists. So please, you still have time to get your entries in until next week on Monday. To get them in, we have white-tailed deer category, we have grouse woodcock, waterfowl, wild turkey, fish. There's a general wildlife category, habitat emphasis, marine art, sportsman, and sporting dog. And we can handle all of your entries. We're not only going to exhibit these down at Cobo Hall, but we're going to be doing a Michigan Outdoors public television special for the winners. That'll be an hour-long special on
That's
TV.
going to be exciting.
All of this stuff coming up, plus we have a lot more, Ed.
What's the secret to catching walleye? You fish, muskie, you fish a lot?
No, not, that was first time this year I was out.
Were you out with a guide?
No, I was out with my friend, Joe Wilson. In fact, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have got the fish. We didn't have a landing net or a gaff hook.
You didn't? How did you get it in the boat?
He got it in.
How?
He reached down in the water and grabbed it in the gills, and I grabbed a hold of him and pulled him and the fish both in the boat.
Hey, not bad. He took a 14-pound, 1-ounce walleye. That's not the only thing. He caught it way up in Portage Lake in Houghton County. Doug, where did you drive from to come here to this sportsman's banquet?
Illinois.
Where in Illinois?
Grays Lake.
Grays Lake, Illinois. He came here for our I'm proud to be a sportsman night. We're proud that we grow fish like this in the state, and fellas like Doug Schultz can come up here and catch him. A terrific walleye. What's the secret to catching a fish like this?
Patience.
Now, we've also been getting some calls asking about this Stroh's Says Yes to Michigan Outdoors. People wonder, what does this mean? Does this Michigan Outdoors mean the television show? Well, it explains on the placard here that for the Stroh product that's sold in the stores and taverns and grocery stores that have this sign up, 24 cents per case will be going into a Michigan Outdoors Fund. Now, this fund, called the Stroh's Michigan Outdoors Fund, is providing money to the Michigan Outdoors TV Fund to help keep the show on the air, to wildlife management projects around the state, and to fisheries management projects. We'll be distributing this money in March when the promotion is done for the months of January and February. Sportsmen, please remember, ask the proprietor of the retail outlets of the taverns to please put this sign up, request it from the driver to put this sign up in the store, and that will be generating money for the fund. If they don't have the sign up, it's not generating any money. Now, for the weekend forecast, the lakes throughout the state are frozen solid. How solid are they frozen? As solid as my toes were on Monday when we were out fishing with Emil Dean. We did catch fish, though. We caught 2 of them all together. Kathy Beitler caught a nice steelhead, about 6 or 7 pounds, and mine was close to 10 pounds. That's the type of fish that you can catch throughout the winter. Now, the charter boat captains, Emil Dean and other charter boat captains, do have lots of openings through the winter because people don't realize they can catch fish like this, and it can be a comfortable experience, too. Of course, it isn't so comfortable for everybody. Sometimes ice fishermen get a little nippy and people out in open boats. Why do they do it? Well, let's talk to a couple anglers and find out.
Well, the sun is shining here. The temperature must be in the teens, maybe 10 degrees, and the wind's blowing. A couple fellas just came in here. You guys do any good?
No, not today. Nothing today.
Nothing.
Nothing today.
This is the boat you're fishing in.
Yeah.
How long were you out?
Oh, we were out a couple hours this morning.
Well, here, don't let me stop you loading it because it's kind of nippy.
It's a little chilly out there today.
A couple hours, and what do you got?
Cold hands. Cold hands.
broken lines.
Oh, yeah? Did you have any hits?
Not that I really know of. Had a few, felt like taps when we were floating down through, but
Well, what's your name?
didn't seem to hook. Kip Miley,
Kip Miley from where?
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay, what about your buddy here?
Tim Visser from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay, you guys fish this river a lot down in the St. Joe?
No, this is the first time we've been down here.
You gonna come back?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you saw the fish that we got.
Yeah, that's what brings us back again. It all looks good though. There's good gravel beds and.
Oh, this is a great stream. This, you have a kerosene heater.
Yeah, that's Tim's heater there.
So Tim gets to sit by it?
Sure.
Not bad, but does this keep you warm enough?
Well, you really need something like that out there. It does a pretty good job, especially on your hands out there. Get out in the wind like that, and the cold weather's so tough on your hands, you need something to keep your hands warm every now and then.
You guys should have come down last week when it was spring.
That's right,
Or
we should
fall
have
or
been.
summer,
We should have been.
Well, that's great.
You're getting most of them was last week there. They said you got quite a few runs.
Okay, well, let's get over here together because the camera crew has been asking me all morning long, why are we doing this? Why don't you explain to them? What's the fun?
The fun when you do get them. They're such an acrobatic fish and a fast running fish that it's well worth it. Well worth it.
There's nothing like the feeling of getting a nice steelhead on the rod. It's worth the cold weather out there.
It's worth it even when it's like this.
That's for sure. You don't even have to get one, and makes it worth it for those ones you do.
You know, in January, you don't have to fight the crowds either.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that we found the last couple of years here. I've just moved back from Montana, and now you get into the crowds of fishing and crowds of people and
Montana, that's why you're wearing this kind of stuff.
Sure.
This is child's play, this type of weather. Well, good luck to you fellas when you come back.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
much.
Nice meeting you.
Okay.